Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories. I'm so glad that you're here. Today on the podcast, I speak with Jill Garner from Manners of the Heart. I have met the most incredible people doing this podcast. People are doing wonderful things all over, and I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to all of them. I honestly could have talked to Jill for another hour. I had so much fun learning from her and talking to her. She was wonderful. So, the word of the week this week is going to be a little obvious.
It's the word of the week.
The word of the week this week is manners. Jill started this program in schools to help children learn manners because our kids don't have great manners. What are your manners? Where are your manners? Manners are the way we act. And Jill talked about how really it's the state of our heart, how we're going to act. So that's really what she works on with these kids. But where are your manners? When you walk into a building and somebody's right behind you, do you let the door slam in their face or do you hold the door open for them? When you are putting your groceries away in your car, do you just leave your cart right where it is, or do you put it up so it doesn't bump into somebody else's car? There's a lot of little things that we can do to just be kind and to have good manners around other people. And man, what a different world we'd live in if everybody would act like that. I'm not perfect. I don't have it all right, but those little things do make a difference. And so I hope maybe you'll think about doing something positive and showing your good manners today for someone else. I thank you for listening. I hope you'll be encouraged. This is a great program, and maybe it's something that you can talk to your school, your kids' school about implementing. Maybe your church would be interested in hearing from Jill because she's an excellent speaker, and I think you'd enjoy it. So thanks for being here. Have a great day.
All
So
right.
tell me, so did you start Manners of the Heart?
I did. I
You
did.
did. Tell me why
I
and
did.
how
I
you
took
did
my
it
glasses
because
off.
I got so excited when I read about this because gosh, is this something that is needed? I
Yes.
mean, I was raised to be respectful to people, especially people older than me. My children were raised that way. And I was laughing when I was thinking about my kids are grown now, but my two sons, when they text me, you can look through my all my texts, and when they respond, they always say, "Yes, ma'am." They just still do that. That's just because how they're raised. That's how I was raised. I do the same thing.
Exactly.
So it is very much needed, but I want to know how and why it got started.
Yeah. Well, let's see. The short story, that's going to sound long at the beginning, is that my sons are certainly grown there. I have identical twin sons who are 42.
Oh, wow.
And when those boys were little in first grade, I started coming to their elementary school cafeteria and teaching just basic manners,
Yeah,
which now I don't consider manners. That's etiquette. That's the rules of
right.
etiquette. Manners is the attitude of the heart that's
Yeah,
self-giving, not self-serving. It's so much more than memorizing rules. It's really the attitude behind your actions. It's the
yeah.
why you do what you do. But at that time, I started coming once a week because I brought it up in a parents meeting. Everybody's talking about that there's no manners and the kids are just out of control. And I've been thinking about it and I have an idea. So our very astute principal said, "What day next week are you coming?" So, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I did. I started coming. And so from first grade to fifth grade, I started coming and I was staying home and not working, outside the home at that time.
Mhm.
And I just poured my heart and soul into it. And I started bringing puppets, and the puppet would look for the napkin. It was a toucan, and he would his old beak, and he'd look for a napkin. He'd grab the napkin, drop it in their lap, and just did all kinds of crazy, crazy things
Yeah.
to get through the kids. And I would come and stay throughout the whole lunchtime, which 2 hours, as each different
Wow.
class came in. Anyway, it was a ball. And then after a couple years, everybody was loving it, and the teachers, the parents, it was really making a difference. And teachers said, "Come in the classroom and talk to my kids about making an introduction or writing thank you notes or all those things." And so I started doing that. And then parents wanted to hear more about it, so I started
Wow.
doing that. And it just kept growing and growing. And then we got to fifth grade and we started doing field trips around town and like going to the state, where the state capital in Louisiana,
Mhm.
and going to the state capitol. And schools started calling our school saying, "Okay, we went to the capitol last week and they couldn't stop talking about these great kids from your school.
Wow.
So what are you doing that we're missing?" And, principal said, "This is something Jill's been doing, all these years." And so we moved on to middle school. And it was not Manners of the Heart. It was just, the volunteer work that I'd been doing. And the the tragedy struck our family when the first week of sixth grade, my husband left us, and
Oh,
had been my college sweetheart, love of my life. And he left us to start another book. I always say he closed our book and he opened
wow.
a new book. And so there I was with not one but two middle school boys. Ugh. Um, so, it's hard enough when it's in an
Yes,
intact family school,
yes,
But anyway, and so I got down on my knees and said, "So, Lord, what is it I'm supposed to do with my life now?" I was
right.
an interior designer by profession and degree. Stepped back into that. It was just a miserable failure for many, many different reasons, but it was really God making it clear that's not the path for me.
Yeah,
And I already had my life's work. I just didn't know it yet. So for 2 years, I studied and did everything I was called to do, and schools would call, and I'd go do a program and all this. Still saying, "What is it I'm supposed to do with my life?" Took 2 years, duh, two
right.
years, for it to get through to me. And finally, I got really mad at God one night, and I said, "You know what? I really did. I stuck my tongue out. I said, I'm done with you. I've known you since I was a little girl. Now I really need a big answer. You won't give it to me." So the next morning I got up and I said, "Good, nope, I'm not talking to you." And I went on about my day and I kept thinking, if he would just send me an email from God@God.com, if he would write it down, if he'd send me a
Right,
fax, make it clear, I'll do whatever you want me to do because I've got to do
right.
something. I can't figure out what it is. So that afternoon, I was in Albertson's grocery store. I picked up a magazine. There, A Woman's Day, Manners. Where have they gone? I kid you not.
Wow.
And I went, oh my goodness. Well, I got that problem. And I went, wait, I do. Oh my goodness. Other schools have been calling. Everybody wants you to go do something. Oh my goodness. You mean this is it? And there's an elderly lady, which is funny for me to say now, but this was 25 years ago. There was an elderly lady standing in front of me, and she looked at me and she said, "Honey, you all right?" And because I gasped out loud.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, I'm just fine. Look, God wrote this down. He put it in my hands. I know what I'm going to do." And she said, "Oh," and headed out get away from me as fast as she could. And that was in 1998.
Wow.
And I haven't looked back since. I was not a writer. I was
Nice.
not a speaker. I was, it was everything I do today is that no one would ever have pegged me to do what I do today.
Yeah.
And so I just said, okay. So now somebody's gonna have to teach me how to do all of this because I don't know how to do
Right.
it.
That's amazing. Well, I laugh because how many of us have felt that way? If you would just send me an email, if you would just make it so clear and it's right there the whole time.
Yeah, but it's right in front of our face. We just are blind,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. So would you tell me, and I think I probably know the answer to this. Don't you think it was easier 25 years ago for the kids to learn manners than it is today?
Huh.
Is that an
Uh,
understatement?
Oh, what an interesting, that's a fascinating question to ask me because that's kind of the reverse question that I ask when almost every time I start any
Yeah.
presentation. And I always say, do you believe it's more difficult today than 25 years ago to
Yeah.
raise children? Everybody says yes. Is there more greed? Yes. Is there more
Mm,
selfishness? Yes. Is there more violence, which is a
yeah.
really hard? Yes. Is
Yeah.
there more disrespect? Yes. You know,
Yeah.
um, and
Very different.
oh, it's incredibly different. I have 7 grandchildren now,
Wow.
and oh my goodness, what they're having to deal with,
Yeah.
compared to what my boys dealt with,
Yes.
there is no comparison.
There isn't. I have two grandkids, two little granddaughters, and I think the same thing. I think the older they get, the harder it is, the harder it's going to be. And oh,
Mhm.
anyway,
Yeah.
so tell me what you're doing. You have lots of things going on. You have lots of different programs and things that you do. Tell me some of what you're doing right now.
Well, right now, we have, and well, I'll tell you a little bit about what we offer then. We have an elementary school curriculum
Okay.
that has been used in public schools across the country.
Wow.
and continues to be. And Manners of the Heart is the name of my organization. At
Mhm.
back in the beginning of that story, when all of that happened in 1998, and I went back to the schools and interviewed lots of teachers and principals, and what does something like this need to look like? How
Right.
would it best be utilized? Um, and so I took about 2 years to write the curriculum, almost 2 years, and wrote that original curriculum then. And then in 2000, that was 99 to 2000. Then 2002, I formed Manners of the Heart, which is a nonprofit organization.
Right.
That everything that I do, speaking, books, it all goes straight to Manners of the Heart. And so I formed the nonprofit organization Manners of the Heart, and the name of the curriculum Manners of the Heart.
Okay.
Well, we are now in the process of transitioning the curriculum to become Heart Ed, because it more clearly defines what we do. As we've moved along and matured, and our curriculum has matured and our organization has matured, it's become very clear what we do is heart education. It's what we've always done,
Mhm.
because we believe the education of the heart must be the heart of education. Because the truth is, the content of the heart, whether it's
Right.
good, whether it's bad, or whether it's ugly, determines what a child will think, say,
Mhm.
or do. I'm so sorry, I
Yeah.
can't do anything without hand motion. What a
Yeah.
child will think, say, or do. And that's how we teach it to the kids.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, and so for so long, we have worked so hard in education to fill up the mind, and STEM and STEAM and math and science and everything, technology and all that,
Right.
and yet we haven't gotten anywhere. In
Yeah.
fact, most of the statistics have gone in the wrong direction. Most of
Yeah.
the numbers are down. When you compare kids in the United States to kids around the world,
Right.
everybody wants to think, oh, we're one or two. No, 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 no. We're
Mhm.
14th, 15th highest ranking, and in the
Yeah.
20s in some rankings in science, math, and all those core subjects. And so, obviously we're not doing something right.
Right.
Among many things we're not doing right. One of which is that we have neglected the education of the heart while we've become obsessed with pouring into the mind.
Right.
So that's one of the foundational principles that we operate from. And
Yeah.
so we're changing the title of the curriculum. The organization will remain Manners of the Heart, and we will now offer Heart Ed. So that's actually our trademark now. It's Heart
Yeah.
Ed, because it's heart education. So now it's become more clear, because we
Yeah.
do teach which fort to use in etiquette stuff, but
Right.
that's not what we're about.
Yeah.
Not the core of what we're about. Is something much deeper. So we have that. And then right now, in about 4 more weeks, we'll be introducing a Christian curriculum
Oh,
for
wow.
Christian schools.
Yeah.
Uh, that it's a 5-day-a-week curriculum. You introduce a core concept on Monday, which is a heart attribute.
Mhm.
And it's introduced with a Maryville story. The curriculum is story based, for
Okay.
our, and we introduce that. Then we have a 5-day-a-week training. And so
Wow.
we're taking days 4 and 5 now and giving the story, excuse me, the biblical context with a memory verse. And on Friday, we're giving suggestions of how to help children learn how to pray themselves for
Yeah.
those heart attributes, for God to instill those heart
Wow.
attributes. So we're doing that, and homeschool curriculum. Um, we've always had homeschools and Christian schools use our work, and so now we're just putting it into a formal curriculum.
Yeah.
So that, and then we have parenting books, Raising Respectful Children in a
Wow.
Disrespectful World, came out last year in its third edition. There's Raising Unselfish Children in a Self-Absorbed World, and I'm so excited to say we have a brand new book coming out July 2nd with Moody Publishing called
Uh-huh.
Strong Heart. And it's
Wow.
really the book of my heart, Strong
Yeah.
Heart, and one word, and strong heart, cultivating humility, respect, and resiliency in your child.
Wow.
And we
Gosh,
have a
that is so
radio
needed.
spot.
That's awesome. That is so exciting. I'm glad to hear. I was going to ask you where all this program was, but I'm glad to hear it's all over the United States. That's wonderful.
And we're in Mexico City, and we have a
Oh,
school in
wow.
Mexico City and a school in Uganda.
Oh, my goodness.
That is just the most precious thing. It's called Mercy Child Care Center. It's in
Okay.
Kampala, Uganda. And I love doing professional development
Yes.
training. Of
Yes.
course, we do it via Zoom.
Right.
But oh my goodness,
That is
it's
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's great.
amazing. I love
It's
this. I love it. So what's your favorite thing about what you're doing?
my favorite thing.
Favorite thing.
Okay, I will say it's the aha moments.
Mhm.
And not my aha moments, but seeing an aha moment in someone else.
Right.
Um, like doing a parent workshop
Hmm.
and maybe talking about some difficult, tough stuff,
Right.
and you suddenly see, when you're a speaker, it doesn't matter if there's 25 people or 5,000 people, somehow you see every little nuance. I don't understand how that works, but somehow
Yeah.
it does. And you see the person, 50 rows back sitting with her husband, and you see her eyes roll and look at her husband, or you see head nod, or you'll see the, you know,
Elbow and
stop. I mean, or you can see, oh, she just kicked him under the table. I saw that, you
oh,
know.
that's so funny.
But I don't know how or how that works, but it really does
Yeah.
work. But
Yeah.
it's fascinating to me, you know, when you see that and you see the,
Yeah.
you know, and the most common comment has been and continues to be, whether it's a professional development with schools or whether it's with parents,
Right.
or caretakers, guardians, the most common comment afterwards is someone will always come up, and usually more than one, and say, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't
Wow.
know what it was. I knew I was doing something I'm doing is not working, but
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it was. And now I understand.
Wow.
I mean, what could get,
Right.
other than my grandchildren calling me Gigi, what could
Right.
be
Right.
what
Oh,
could
I
be greater
know.
than that?
Yes.
you know,
Yes. I love it. I love it. So what kind of fundraising do you do? Do y'all do
uh,
fundraising?
yeah, oh yes, oh
Oh yeah.
absolutely. In fact, it's fun. And again, funny question today because next Friday, we're doing a brand new fundraiser. Typically we do one big major event a year,
Uh-huh.
in February or March. And this year, because of multiple conflicts and multiple places here in Baton Rouge, we couldn't do it in March. And so we're doing it next Friday,
Okay.
May 3rd. And it's this time, we own the trademarks to Art of the Heart and Music of the Heart,
Hmm.
because we use them within our work,
Yeah.
and I love to see both of those become curriculum one day,
Oh
especially
yeah.
curricula one day, especially if they're taking music and art out of schools so
Sure.
often,
Yeah.
especially with the littles. It's the introduction to classical art and
Yeah.
classical music and all the great composers and
Hmm.
past and modern day. Anyway, in the art and music world. But anyway, so we're taking Art of the Heart this year, and we've invited Louisiana artists, and they have just been so amazingly generous.
Wow.
Louisiana artist, to donate pieces, and then we're going to
Sure.
turn that into a book. When we're done, we're turning that
Wow.
into a book, and they've written their inspiration for the piece that they've submitted.
Yeah.
Those will be auctioned, and it's a going to be a luncheon at the beautiful, my favorite building in Baton Rouge, beautiful old historic,
Yeah.
beautiful, upstairs looking, you can see out. Oh, it's beautiful. Anyway, the magnolia strings are playing, and it'll just be a really pretty
Wow.
event. Typically, we do Heart and Hand, which
Hmm.
is an awards kind of ceremony for our champions of respect, and a teacher of the year, school of the year, that kind of
Wow.
thing. And it's a night event,
Yeah.
um, but this year we decided just to do something kind of different. And
Mhm.
then apart from that, of course, we write grants and we write grants and we write
Wow.
grants.
Yes.
And and then corporate fundraising, individual monthly donors,
Yeah.
you know,
You'll take it
all
from wherever. I totally understand. I
all of the
totally
class of things.
understand.
And we sell
Yeah.
our curriculum,
Yeah.
to schools, and so we sell our curriculum, our parenting books, so
Right.
we do have some self-generated revenue as well too.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. So how do people get involved? Do you have volunteer opportunities for people, or is this just kind of what you do
Mhm.
and people can donate?
Yeah, no, great question too. Yes, we have volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for ambassadors,
Mhm.
who have a heart for this, who will
Yeah.
bring it to their community,
Yeah.
who go take it to schools in their community, churches,
Yeah.
particularly. who would bring us in to do speaking events. We have something
Okay.
we call the Heart of the Weekend. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, Heart of the Family Weekend.
Uh-huh.
Um, we do a Friday night and we do two sessions on Saturday, and then
Okay.
Saturday at lunch we wrap it up with a etiquette manners teaching thing. We'll have a big lunch,
Yeah.
and I'll teach the parents how to teach their children,
Right.
all the good old fashioned manners. We do that, and we'll do, like I said, 3 sessions with the parents, and then we give volunteers at the church um, when we're coming in to do it. The
Hmm.
children are invited as well, and they have manners of the heart lessons,
Oh, wow.
and so the children, get to have manners of the heart lessons while their
Sure.
parents, are in the sessions,
Yeah.
and we train the volunteers, how to do that ahead of time. So
Right.
that's a really neat thing. And then of course
Yeah.
I do a lot of speaking, and
Yeah.
always love to come in and do, one night parents night.
Hmm.
And we also talk on the broader things. I do a lot of Christian women speaking as
Okay.
well too, because there's kind of a story. There's a story behind the story.
Right.
Um, and
Yeah.
so we're always looking for, those opportunities as well.
Sure.
Can I throw out one more thing?
You
Is
tell
it
me whatever you want. Yes.
our time out? Time up. One other thing I was going to say, I mentioned that our first foundational principle is the content of the heart.
Uh-huh.
The second foundational principle, and it just ties in so well with what you've just said, is that children don't need self-esteem, they
Mhm.
need self-respect.
Yeah.
And if you want the broader answer for all the troubles we are experiencing today, that is the root
Yep.
cause. It's when we started esteeming ourselves.
Yeah.
And that happened in the late 60s, early 70s, which, I'm sure you're aware of what a marker that is in our
Mhm.
history, in our country's history.
Yeah.
All the rebellion, all the, craziness of the 60s, and
Yeah.
we've never recovered. And we've not recovered. We've only continued to go down kind of this rebellious kind of, experience.
Right.
Reason is because that's the time at which Carl Rogers, who's the
Mhm.
grandfather of humanism,
Mm.
told the rest of the world that we need self-esteem, and
Yeah.
that's going to be the cure. That's going to solve the problems of the 60s. The reason the teenagers rebelled in the 60s is because they didn't feel good about themselves, and they need to feel good about themselves, and they need to learn to esteem themselves, and that's going to cure everything. Well, as we talked earlier, everything's gotten worse. Nothing
Right.
has gotten better.
Right.
And because, of course, the esteeming of self is the antithesis of
Yeah.
esteeming God and
Yeah.
esteeming others. And
Mhm.
so all the work that we do, our approach to it is, while we are working to fill up that heart with all the good, right stuff, get the
Right.
bad stuff out, good stuff in, da 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 da.
Mhm.
It's a little
Yeah.
calm the kids learn. The Maryville's a great fun place to be. And so, but while we're trying to do all that work in the heart, what we're doing is to open up that heart, unlock that heart, so that kids can see beyond themselves
Right.
and not get lost in themselves. I call it the mirror of the window.
Yeah.
If you think of a mirror, if you're looking, in a mirror, you only see yourself. You can't see others. You can't see through the
Right.
mirror. Kids can't see when the mirror of self-esteem is put in their hands. Kids
Right.
can't see the possibilities of who they can become. All they can see is themselves, and they get lost in themselves. And either they become self-conceited,
Right.
entitlement, all about me,
Yeah.
kind of what you were talking about, the disrespectfulness, right? The lack
Mhm.
of concern for others, the selfishness, or
Yeah.
they become self-conscious. And that explains the suicide rates continuing
Right.
to elevate, the addictions continuing to get to just skyrocket out of control
Yeah.
in our young adults. That explains it, because they've become lost in themselves, and there's no
Right.
answers to be found there. And
Yeah.
so what we try to do is take them to the window. We call it the window of self-respect.
Mhm.
And at the window, you catch a glimpse of yourself, but you immediately see through yourself, past yourself. So
Right.
at the window of self-respect, now kids can see the possibilities of who they can become. Kids can see God. They can see
Yeah.
God looking at them in the mirror. They lose sight of God, and they
Yeah.
can't see God looking at them. That's that hopelessness of today, of so
Right.
many things. So at the window of self-respect, now they can grow and see and become all that they were created to be.
Yeah, I love that. That is so beautiful. That is
Mm.
such a beautiful picture. Well, I have a goal to speak to someone in every state. So you are my Louisiana. You are
Aw,
it for Louisiana. So
I'm so
uh,
honored.
yeah, I started this podcast for fun, and then I realized somehow everybody I was talking to was all helping somebody else. So then I started reaching out to people that were helping other people. It's a lot of nonprofits, but it's sometimes authors, sometimes, other things. And then I
Right.
thought, I just need to talk to somebody in every state. So I've kind of reached out. I'm halfway to my goal. I'm
I'm
halfway
so
there. So
impressed. And
you are
what
you
was
are Louisiana. I'm sorry.
what compelled you to do this? What compelled you?
Well,
Curious.
the podcast I started for fun. I just like talking to people. And you were talking in the beginning about how if somebody had told you a long time ago that you were going to be a speaker and an author and all these things, you would have thought they were crazy. That's me right now talking to you. I've been through a lot. I've been healed of a lot, and so for me to use my voice for anything is a very big deal. And
Mm,
so I'm thankful that I get to do what I do, and I really started it for fun. I really did because I know people in my own life who have great stories, and I thought, everybody's got a story to share. And
mm.
then I was just kind of asking the wrong people. I think I would ask and they'd say yes, and then when I tried to nail them down, they kind of scattered. So I,
Well,
I had to learn, how to find the right people. But then when I did, man, it's been wonderful. I have met the most incredible people doing things across this country that are they're just amazing. They're amazing. I love it.
oh,
I love what I'm getting to do. And I've also spoken to somebody. I spoke to somebody in England that was for fun. That was an author that I loved, and I thought I'm just going to ask, and he said yes, and so I got to talk to him. But I actually just spoke with a woman I'm going to talk to in Australia next week. So
oh,
pretty
that's
cool.
fun.
Yeah, she's a naturopath and works with women with menopause and perimenopause. So I have all the questions.
Oh, wow.
And
Oh, I bet
I'm
you do.
very excited. Yeah.
Lots
So
of questions for her. Oh,
yes.
I want to hear that
I
one.
know. I'll let you know when that one's posted. But yes, I have lots of questions. But anyway, that's why I'm doing it. And I appreciate what you're doing so much. I think it's
Oh,
so necessary. And I'm glad that it's growing, growing, growing because
yeah.
it's much needed. So,
Well, we've come a long way, but we have a very long way to
right.
go to
I
every kid in
understand.
America.
I understand completely. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day. I thank you again for
You too.
chatting with me, and I'll keep you posted I'll send you a link ahead of time before this airs so you can
Yeah.
watch it if you want to. You don't have to, but you're welcome
Well,
to.
and we'll put it out. We'll put it out in our social media,
That would
too.
be wonderful.
Encourage people, of
That would
course, to
be
encourage people
wonderful.
to watch. All right.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks so
Bye bye.
much.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Bye bye.